Oh, getting everything turned on here, everybody. Let's see what was going on. We're here, see if anybody's joining in yet. Somebody's here. Who's with us right now? Let's see, you got somebody on YouTube. Two. YouTube, I hope the video is as good as last time. I'm actually going to use the PC on this one, so sorry if it's a little grainy. We're also doing this on Facebook too for everybody that's over here. Alright, everybody. Well, I'm gonna get this going. Got two people watching. What we're working with now is the L357 Sig that I've been working with. Figured this would be a great one because I gotta take it apart anyway. And I'll be doing another video on the range time and what I think about this one and some other tidbits on information if you're gonna build one of these. So, as you can tell, mag's out. We're empty. We're going it. I'm going to do a full disassemble, show you how you pull out the extractor, your firing pin, or the striker, and all the springs so you can check everything. On this particular one, the reason I'm going to do this one, I figured I'd do it live, in case if you wanted to follow along or you can look at it or ask me a question. I've got a lot of people asking that they're having failure to eject or that the firing pin's hitting too hard. It's in the operation. What the problem is the striker, your sear spring, and your ejector cup, where all the springs right inside, are getting jammed up. So, my cat. So with that happening, if you're not cleaning them out, that's the issue. So on your standard M, L, C, this is going to work on any of the 4 models. This will work on any of the generations. This one I'm going to work with is going to be a 4th generation. So there is an extra component in a 3rd generation that has the safety. When you pull out the sear on a 3rd gen, the little safety indicator or the loaded chamber indicator is in a different position, but it will come out. So this particular one has a muzzle comp. Sorry, I gotta get this one up. It's got the muzzle comp on it. With this one, there is a set screw in the very bottom, and the barrel is pinned. So release your set screw and then unthread. It is a 1/2 x 28 right-hand pitch on this particular Ranger Point extended barrel and the conversion barrel for this gun. If you had the M model or the 40 factory Steyr with a thread or anything else, you'll need to remove the comp to take the slide off. So that's what we're going to do. Just remove the comp. On your, to remove the slide and everything, you should be familiar with, you are going to have to depress the trigger to take the action off all the spring tension so you can remove everything. So, as we've already stated, it is unloaded and there's no mag. Once you've done that, on your safety indicator button here for locking it up, you'll need to depress it, and your takedown lever you're going to have to throw into the forward position, and then your slide will come forward. So that's what it looks like. We're going to remove it. You can put your lower down. I am not going to take apart this lower in this disassembly. I am not an armorer. I'm hoping to get that certification. This is just what you can read in your manual, so I am not going to show you how to remove this trigger pack and mess with any of your springs, because if you lose one or set the tension in the wrong position, you will screw up your trigger pack, which controls everything, and I'm not that good at the moment to pull all this apart and take it, put it back together. It takes me a while to do it, and I prefer not to. When you remove out your guide rod, if you have a factory one or the extended, or sorry, the solid one-piece guide rod, they all remove the same way. Lift up the rear, it'll pop out forward, and you can set that off to the side. Your barrel's going to come out no matter which one you have. Slide it forward and up, and then you can pull it out to the rear, and your barrel will be out. I'll kind of show this here off for some of you that haven't got to see it. This is the 357 Sig Conversion Barrel. You can notice in the video it's kind of greasy. I'm going to show you what I do with the grease and everything on here. So for everybody over here. And it is threaded and pinned in the bottom for a comp. Or if you run a silencer suppressor, you can actually screw and leave this the adapter piece on the end of your barrel. I'm not that familiar with NFA items, so bear with me, it's rudimentary. Alrighty, got my rag here. Okay, to get into the heart of some of your failure to eject or your heavy primer strikes, this is what's going to lead up to it. This is a way to clean it and to help mitigate those problems. Simple tools for this is a very small flat blade screwdriver, like one for your glasses. If you use it, this is all you're going to need to pull down and pull the firing pin out, and your extractor and extractor spring to clean everything, besides a Q-tip or some rim oil just to flush out the channel. So the easiest one to do to start with will be in the rear of the slide on the right hand side. So this will be the same side with your extractor. I'm going to point this out here. I'm working on 2 cameras, so I am going to go back and forth so we can get a view of this. In the top, underneath, there's this plastic rear, which is your retaining pin or block. Underneath of it, there is a little channel right here to take out. I'll show you guys over here, right here. Like I said, it is on the same side as your extractor. Take your flat blade screwdriver and you're going to insert it. All it is a spring and a small little cup. You're going to push it straight down, and then this retaining block in the back with it in a vertical position, so facing y'all, you're going to push down and slide this backwards, and that will remove out the retaining block. There is spring pressure on that little spring, and this is going to give you access to your striker. So kind of on camera and off camera. In the back, you see where that's at. Like I said, push it straight down. There's spring pressure, and then that retaining block is going to come out. And that's about what it's going to start to look like when you remove it. Hi Jared, how are you? I see you're on Facebook. This is that retaining block. There's no parts in this. There's no springs or anything. All it is a milled or an ejected piece of plastic. So that's it. You can just set that off to your side. That little spring cup that you're pushing down, you can use the same screwdriver and push it up, and you're going to remove your loaded indicator spring and check. I like working on a piece of white material. I actually use a piece of yellow to lay out all my parts so you don't lose anything. Now, with all that removed, your actual striker, which for here on camera for everybody, it'll be the silver part. It actually will just slide out to the rear, and there will be a spring inside. When you remove out your striker spring and the actual striker itself, it will separate. Do not be concerned if this spring is in a bind. That's the way they look. It's not damaged or anything. They're under enough tension at the way that the system works that's just how they are. They're kind of bent and look like a caterpillar. Hey Jared, hope the video's coming through. Alrighty, so when I say it's bent, you can kind of see how, it's womped a little bit. So that there's your striker spring. Your actual striker, your sear, everything. That's it. Take a Q-tip and go here into the center and just kind of flush it out and clean it. Same works for the rim oil spray. Just flush this out and flush out this spring, and that's what you need to do with it. Check and make sure that your actual firing pin's not bent or has any burrs. Best thing is just to run your fingers over the top of it. If you happen to find a little burr, a piece of memory cloth or like 3000 grit sandpaper, and it's very, very lightly, just run this back and forth about 2 times. It'll knock off the burr and it'll be good to go. Very rarely do you find one unless you got a piece of metal jammed in it, dirt, grit, really out at the range and getting it into mud. The inside of the cup where the sear goes, you'll need to flush that out, and it'll actually channel and come through on the front side where the striker comes out. Flush all that out forward and backwards, and that'll clean it out. On these 4th generation guns, this is a point you're actually going to understand and see where the roll pin's at, which improve the trigger over Gen 2 and Gen 3 guns. So if you'll look straight down inside, you'll actually see that there's a little roller bearing. I'll kind of point this out here. Give me 1 second. It's right there. It's this little roller bearing. It's critical that you flush this out, because if there's going to be any dirt or buildup, the only way for it to get out is at this time. The only other spot is if you were to remove the rear sight, you can see the top of it. You don't have to worry about cleaning it. Just spray it out, wipe it out with a tack cloth. Your other spring that's inside, let's see if I can pull this here. Nope, that's your actual loaded indicator. Sorry, you don't need that one. That one's going to stay inside. It's actually set. Alright, pulling out and messing with the extractor. Your secondary, I just had a gentleman ask me on here on YouTube on my last video, asked he was having failure to eject. Steyr pistols do not like cheap ammo. So your Blazer aluminum case or polymer, just your low-end junky, don't care if you shoot at ammo. The Steyr pistols don't like it. It doesn't burn real clean, and this is what's going to jam this up. My cheap idea of ammo is like Winchester white box. It's consistent. I just don't shoot Blazer ammo. I've never had continuous luck with it. So if you shoot junky ammo or stuff that doesn't clean, or if you're shooting reloads, this next step's critical to keep your failure to eject to a minimum. With your same screwdriver, right behind the extractor, it's going to look like a little ball bearing. There's this little black shiny ball bearing. You're going to insert the screwdriver between the extractor and that little ball bearing. So here in this one, like I said, it goes right there. On the front side, right between it, you're just going to push right into it. You need to set it down. It might make a little click sound, but push in there until you feel that little black ball push backwards, and then in a down motion, you're going to have to push down and pry up a little bit on the screwdriver. The extractor is pinned in with that spring, and once you release the spring tension, I actually pushed in and pried down, which will pop out the extractor. It'll just pop into your hand, and it's just this little claw foot. Just remember, when you go to reassemble this, the little sharp edge goes inside of the ejector port. So it will go back in this way. You can set that off to the side, check it for burrs or for any maybe you broke an ejector. If you had steel case ammo, it'll do it on that. Inside, with a screwdriver, go to the very back of the slide assembly, stick the screwdriver in and just push forward to get that spring to come forward. Most of the time, there's enough oil or grime buildup, it will not fall out if you go to bump it. And I actually just dropped mine. Give me just 1 second. And again, sorry everybody, took me a minute. Alright, so let's see, I can get my Facebook stream back up and going. Okay, this here is your little spring for your extractor. This is what holds it in. Set that off to the side without dropping it. So, alrighty, inside this channel, as you can kind of see here, this goes back up inside. This is where you want to flush this channel out and run a Q-tip up inside. So once that's done, that will stop, I'd say, at least 40% of the fail to extract problems, or if your pistol gets dirty and it's just not wanting to pull ammo or strip the ammo correctly. Your second option, if you happen to have a bad extractor string, is you can actually contact Steyr, tell them that you have a bad extractor. They have a serial number book that they'll go through it and see if the gun's been fixed or if there's an issue with it. Most of the time, they'll actually send you out a new spring or a spring and extractor and offer you to replace it, and they'll just mail it to you. Another option, on Ranger Point, they actually sell an upgraded spring kit. This particular kit comes with their barrel assembly. There's a little spring right inside there. So, it's right there. So, cool people at Ranger Point. If you buy a new barrel from them on this conversion 357 Sig, they'll actually send you a helper spring if you have a bad extractor spring. I'm going to go into this in my other video. I had spoke when you're doing the conversion kit to add this. There is a correction to that video, and I will put it out in my next tutorial video. This spring is an addition. You do not have to run this with yours. It's an option if you have a weak spring or if you're having a problem. Do not install this into your pistol with your original one if you don't have a problem, because getting it out tightens up the extractor so much. It took me about 30 minutes to get this spring out with helping the other one because there was so much tension. When you go to extract them, it will rip a casing clean out the gun. You will not have a problem with it extracting. So bear in mind, if you get a new spring where you add a helper spring, disassembly will become a pain in the butt to get it apart. So this here with your, we've done nothing with the lower end except we're going to clean it. Like I said, I use rim oil, a brush, toothbrush, or a microfiber rag, clean this thing down, and that's it. That's all you're going to mess with this lower. This upper is not really a field strip. This is a tabletop. Take it apart, clean everything, fix any issues that you're having, inspect your firing pin, your sear, the roll pin, and your extractor springs. To do the reassembly, we're going to start from the extractor and work our way backwards. So, since I dropped it, spring in first. This gun's actually already been cleaned. I did this earlier just to make sure I had everything apart and done up. I'd taken it to the range. So I'm not wiping this down or showing you. You can clean this to your standard on how you want stuff. One thing I do recommend, instead of using a lot of oil and putting your gun all back together, I do use gun grease. I just prefer this better. It lasts longer in hot conditions, especially here in the States where I'm at, I prefer the grease in the gun, and the oil doesn't run through my holster. In worst cases, I have a little bit of grease on my finger. It wipes off a lot easier than, you know, rim oil lubricant or like frog oil that just won't wipe off. So with your spring, you're going to put spring in first. The little black nipple retainer will be sticking out. So this is going to go into the hold. It'll just drop straight in. Your extractor, like I said, the claw end, not the round nubble end. You can kind of see the difference. You'll just stick it in and push down. You may need to reinsert the screwdriver to push that spring down, and then the extractor will fall into place. I'm going to set this down and do it so I don't drop it again. You'll actually hear it click. It'll sound like a trigger reset when it sets back inside, and you'll see where it's at. If you want to check to make sure you didn't bind a spring or hurt anything, make sure you got it good and cleaned out. Actually reinsert your screwdriver and just kind of give it a wiggle. It'll move freely, and then that'll be your extractor reinstalled. Flipping it over, we're going to go with your striker assembly, your firing pin, everything. Firing pin in first, and it's typical, the small end in first. You'll drop it, it'll seat all the way back in. Making sure we're still streaming here. As you see, it was starting to slide. Get it all the way back in. And then we'll reinsert your spring. Now when it comes to your spring, there's two ends on the spring. One is a flat cup, like that one. The other one is retained with a C-clip. When you reinsert this, the C-clip is what goes into the striker. So C-clip in, the little button top flat part will stick out, and all it does, you push it all the way down until it bottoms out against the top of the frame assembly, like so. Let's see. The next part you're going to install will be your check spring, which is going to keep the pressure and hold in the retaining pin. It'll go on the right hand side of the Steyr spring. You are going to have to push this down and then reinsert, and the V-notch will go, let's double check this. Sorry. The V-notch will face down. Sometimes you'll need to go in through the top and push down just to seat, or to get the this lock ring to set, or you can go in from the back. Let's see here. Get my fingers here. Come here. Because my gun's greasy, my fingers don't want to work with it. Let's see. I'm going to lay this down. Let's see here. Trying to get all the pins and everything lined up. It does take a second to get all this down. As y'all can see, this is why I don't do too many live videos, because it takes me a moment to get everything lined up. Alright, once that's in, make sure you bottom it out. and set that little pin, you'll need to pull it down. Make sure you have everything lined up inside. And again, just like the extractor, you'll get yourself what sounds like a trigger reset when that spring sets back inside the cup and lines back up inside the slide. As you can see, it doesn't take too long. You just do have to get it in there, and if you have it greasy, it'll take you a minute with your hands. Your barrel reassembly all goes back in, and your guide rod. Again, mine's greasy. Clean this up here a little bit. So your guide rod's all back in, and then reassembly back to your chassis, cycle, and check. But there's you an advanced disassembly. Besides letting an armorer do it, which I said the armorer will get into pulling apart the trigger pack, there should be really no reason for any of us to really pull the trigger apart unless you had something broken. At this particular moment, it's a little above my grade to pull all that apart and check with the springs. I'm just not comfortable doing it, so when I do, I'll explain it and show how it all works. Well, I've kept the video, even with me screwing up, down to about 30 minutes, so I appreciate everybody that's watched it this far. If you have any questions on how to disassemble or what to check or what you're looking for, I am more than happy to answer questions in the comments. Just leave me one, let me know. This month, this is August, on Thursday the 23rd, so Steyr Open House is going on. So if you're not aware of it, the Open House is a factory direct sale event that Steyr Mannlicher is putting on here in the USA. It's in Bessemer, Alabama. It's going from, I believe, 9 a.m. excuse me, to 4 p.m. for Thursday today, so it's already ended, but they will be open on Friday and Saturday. On Saturday, I will be there, and I get to show you. Cool shirt. This is what you're looking for, and my ugly mug. But I will be there Saturday doing some film work, meet and greet. I'll be picking up some product myself, getting to talk to the staff, and just seeing what's all going on and hang out for most of the day. So I will be down that way. If you want to say hi and you don't actually see me, message me on Facebook. I'll check in, say that you're there, and I'll take a look for you and say hi or talk to you, whatever you'd like, if you're interested in those types of things. They're also doing a web sale. I know they have some product on their website, so that's pretty cool. The other big news right now, I got an email from Ranger Point Precision. So if y'all are interested in one of these conversion setups for your 40 caliber Steyrs to go to 357, they are running a special. You get the barrel, a threaded in thread protector, and the recoil management weight. It's all a package deal. They've got a special price on it. Go to their website, tell them what you want. You can get it fluted, you can get it extended, standard length barrels. I mean, there's a litany of options. It's all one price, I do believe, but they are running a special. I think you get, if you buy the barrel, they'll toss in like $50 or $60 worth of free accessories. I'm not sure if they're doing free shipping on it, but I'm sure if you bought enough, there is a package deal. It just depends on where you're at. But they are doing that. They have a second batch of barrels, so they have it. They also have the compensators for the 40, 9mm, and 357. They do also offer the 9mm threaded barrels, 40 barrels, and the 9, 40, and 357 Sig threaded barrels, all set up for left or right hand pitch, depending on what you want for your comp or suppressor setup needs. Just click on it, go through their list, find out what you want, tell them. If y'all tell them that you saw this video or you saw their product advertised here, it's not so much for me, but it does help me on keeping me up on some products and getting to test stuff. So that's really cool, and I do appreciate if everybody does that. It at least lets them know that their advertisement and letting me test their products works. That's what's going on with this one. Like I said, I am going to do the full review of what we did with this pistol. The other week we went through this thing 2,500 rounds at the range on a brand new barrel. You know, that was its break-in, was 2,500 rounds that night. And I'm going to give you my final thoughts on it, a full breakdown video, which hopefully will be in better quality. I hope the quality's not too bad in this one. But you'll get my final reviews probably here in the next couple days. There's also going to be some video coming out for the open house. I'll post pictures and publish and do all that. And that's about it, y'all. I'm going to sign off. I'm trying to keep this somewhat short and interesting. So, hope you enjoy the video. Hope it works out for you. And I'll see y'all in the next one, or talk to you in the comments.